Before I flew back home, I slept with Dawson. I mean, starting tomorrow, we wouldn't be seeing each other anymore, so why not? Plus, I'm just a beta. I can't get pregnant, and he doesn't have to take responsibility. So I went all in, had my fun, pulled my pants back up, and dipped. But I didn't even make it out of the airport before I was surrounded by a wall of men in black. And right in the middle of them, Dawson walked out. I thought you liked messing with me. Why run now? 1. My back hurts. My legs hurt too. I glanced back at Dawson, who was still sound asleep in bed, and cursed him silently a dozen times. Sure, I was the one who took advantage of his vulnerable state and pounced on him, but still, his stamina was inhuman. There wasn't a single unbruised spot on my neck. Whatever. At least it was worth it. Once I get back to my country, we'll be thousands of miles apart, and that'll be the end of it. Even if he wakes up feeling violated and furious, he won't be able to find me. A final wild night before leaving, totally worth it. I quietly pulled my collar up, trembling legs barely supporting me as I got dressed. Then I grabbed my phone, deleted him on WeChat, blocked his number, clean break. Before I left, I stood by the bed and stared at Dawson for a good 10 seconds. Then I huffed toward his sleeping head. Little ol' me is heading back home, peace out. 2. Even on the plane, I could still feel the after effects. I shifted uncomfortably in my seat, trying to ease the lingering soreness. Dawson. He's probably awake by now. Thinking back to what we did, he's most likely losing his mind, ready to hang me on a wall of shame and beat me 180 times. To be fair, I didn't expect things to spiral like that either. Honestly, I'd been crushing on Dawson for a while. But I'm just an average beta, studying abroad in country A. He's an alpha, the heir to a major conglomerate, also studying in country A. Their whole operation has relocated here, and he's bound to take over one day. With the current dynamics between alphas and betas, and the gap in status, there was just no way. Besides, we were strictly friends, never even crossed a line. That's why I kept my feelings buried deep and never even told Dawson I was moving back home. We were never going to see each other again anyway. As for last night, that was an accident. Alphas have those days, they go into heat. I was packing at home when he suddenly started pounding on my door. His eyes were bloodshot, like something straight out of a horror movie. It was obvious something was wrong. From what he managed to explain, he'd suddenly gone into heat during a meeting and forgot to bring his suppressants. Since I lived nearby, he came over to avoid causing a scene. I offered to go buy him some inhibitors. He refused, saying he couldn't be left alone. I said I'd take him to the hospital. He still refused, saying it was too public and he didn't want his condition getting out. Well then, let him suffer. Dawson curled up on my couch, the top 2 buttons of his shirt undone, veins bulging on the back of his hand, hair messy, lips parted, and breathing uneven. I already had a thing for him, and seeing him like that just made my heart race even more. My mouth went dry. And then I lost all reason. While he was still out of it, I pushed him onto the bed and kissed him with my eyes shut. And, well, yeah. He was way too good looking. Looking back now, it was probably wrong of me. But hey, I wasn't the only one who enjoyed it. It happened. It's done. Time to move on. After landing, I happily sent Bennett a message that I'd arrived. Bennett's my best friend, an absolute powerhouse Omega, the kind who could suplex a 6-foot-tall alpha without breaking a sweat. The main reason I came back was to attend his wedding. I wheeled my luggage toward the exit, humming a little tune, all ready to see my dear friend. But before I even made it out the doors, a line of men in black, looking like they'd been copy-pasted, same height, same haircut, suddenly blocked my way. 2 of them stepped aside. Dawson walked out from behind them, long legs striding forward, jaw clenched tight, face stormy. He stared straight at me, narrowed his eyes, and let out a cold laugh. I thought you liked messing with me. Why run away now? 3. I froze on the spot, my mind crashing like thunder. Crap. What the hell was Dawson doing here? How did he even know I was flying back home? My hands felt stiff, legs wouldn't move. I stood there dumb for a while before forcing out a smile uglier than a ghost's. What a coincidence. Dawson took 2 steps forward, his whole presence oppressive. Coincidence? I asked you something. Was pulling your pants up all it took to forget me? Or were you just not satisfied with my skills? If you had any complaints, you could have told me. I froze, and my face went up in flames. Seriously? Dude, we're at the airport. There are people everywhere. Even if you want to punish me, can we not do it in public? I was burning with shame and took an unconscious step back. But Dawson didn't give me a single inch of space. He marched forward and grabbed my arm. You didn't even say goodbye. Just vanished into thin air. What were you thinking? Let him go. My eyes lit up instantly. That voice. I turned my head and saw my savior, Bennett, walking toward us like a god descending from the heavens, practically glowing with divine light. I almost burst into tears. Thank the heavens, I wasn't going to die today. Bennett shoved Dawson's iron grip off me and stood protectively in front of me like a mother bear guarding her cub. Sir, what do you think you're doing, trying to kidnap someone in broad daylight? Do you think the law doesn't apply here? Dawson didn't look too happy. His face was dark as a thundercloud as he stared at Bennett. But before things could escalate, another tall alpha stepped between them. His presence was just as overwhelming as Dawson's. Was this turning into some kind of human totem pole? The silence stretched awkwardly for a few seconds before Dawson took a step back and forced a stiff smile. Joseph. Long time no see. Joseph? Oh, Bennett's husband. The 6 feet 3 inches alpha replied with a perfectly polite business smile. Dawson. You've been well, I hope. Apologies, but I'm here to pick up my husband's friend. We don't really have time for a reunion. If there's nothing else, we'll be going. Dylan. At Dawson's command, a white-gloved butler appeared with another team of men and politely took my luggage from me, bowing slightly and gesturing for us to proceed. Bennett tugged on my arm. Let's go. I glanced sideways at Dawson. His face was so cold it could freeze fire, and his eyes looked like they were peeling me alive. I quickly looked away. Okay. Self-preservation first. Time to retreat. Bennett, with all the elegance and force of someone untouchable, led me away. Maybe Joseph's reputation wasn't something to mess with, because Dawson didn't try to stop us. I shrank my neck in and made a swift escape. 4. I mean really, what was the rush? You were gone the second I turned my head. Joseph nagged non-stop from the front seat. What if you'd gotten knocked over? What if you tripped? What if something had happened? You want me to hang myself over it? You better think it over carefully, don't let it happen again. I curled up in the back seat like a tiny quail. Are all alphas this controlling? I walked a little fast, not like I'm some 80-year-old grandma. They're such a weird species. Bennett, sitting beside me with his arms crossed, rolled his eyes dramatically. Shut up. Keep nagging and you're sleeping alone tonight. Joseph, realizing he wasn't getting through to Bennett, redirected the lecture to me. Adrian, you're Bennett's best friend. Talk some sense into him, will you? The airport's a madhouse. People are speedwalking like they're chasing ghosts. It's dangerous. Well, aside from being crowded, airports are kind of safe. I mumbled cautiously, trying to offer a more peaceful take. Joseph looked ready to keep scolding, but Bennett shut him down with another, shut it. I wrapped my arms around Bennett's and got all teary. Bennett, it's been 3 years. I missed you so much. But have you gained some weight? You've got a bit of a belly now. I reached out to poke his slightly rounded stomach, but he calmly replied. Yeah, I've gained a bit. I'm 3.5 months in. Put on quite a few pounds. My hand froze midair. After a moment of stunned silence, once my brain processed what he meant, I gasped, "What the?" Then I straightened up, fixed my expression, and scolded him seriously. "How could you be so reckless? It's a crowded airport, what if someone bumped into you? I might get yelled at or arrested, but this is dangerous. Seriously, reflect on this. No, next time." "Exactly." Joseph nodded furiously from the front seat. Bennett looked like he had a headache and rubbed his temples. "Enough about me. What's your deal? Who is this Dawson guy? Some kind of enemy?" "Well." I scratched my cheek, all my earlier boldness vanishing in an instant. I gave a dry laugh. "It's a long story." 5. "So that guy slept with you?" Joseph's shocked voice echoed through the spacious villa. Bennett smacked him on the back of the head. "Could you be any louder?" "Ahem." I coughed awkwardly. "Correction, I slept with him." But Joseph wasn't listening. "Wow. I didn't think Dawson had it in him. Looked like such a decent guy, guess I misjudged him." I pulled a miserable face. Bennett patted my shoulder. "So what are you thinking now?" "What was I thinking?" I sighed. "I don't know. It was just a moment of weakness. If I'd known Dawson was coming back too, I never would have had the guts. You saw his face at the airport, looked like he wanted to eat me alive. He's probably so pissed he can't even recognize his own mom anymore. I think he just wants to rough me up to let off steam." Joseph smirked mysteriously, leaning back on the sofa and wrapping an arm around Bennett. "He's definitely mad. But what exactly he's mad about, that's another story. That he wants to deal with you, though? That part's true." "Do you like him?" Bennett asked. I rubbed my face. "Yeah. I like him. Physically and emotionally. But just me liking him isn't enough. Dawson doesn't like me back. Right now, all he wants is revenge. And maybe even to bury me 6 feet under." Bennett looked like he wanted to keep talking, but Joseph stopped him. All right. Let it go. It's their business, they'll figure it out. I'm an alpha too, I know what kind of guy Dawson is. You just worry about yourself." I quickly nodded. "Exactly. Don't worry about me. Focus on keeping yourself healthy. I can't let my mess affect his mood. That'd be a real sin." We chatted for a bit longer, and then I said my goodbyes and left. 6. I dragged my luggage and a big pile of snacks Bennett gave me back home. As soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I spotted a tall man with a straight back leaning against the door. I gasped and turned to leave. But when I glanced back, 2 black-suited bodyguards wearing sunglasses stood perfectly still on either side of the elevator like guardian statues. Damn, no way out. Could I call the police? Like a ghost, Dawson's voice echoed, "What, home already but not opening the door?" I shivered, my scalp tingling. "Oh, open." "I'm opening now." I used my fingerprint to unlock and slipped inside, sticking close to the door crack. Just as I was about to shut it hard, a hand suddenly wedged the door open. Dawson barged in, slammed the door shut, then pressed me against it, standing way too close. My breath hitched, and I swallowed hard without thinking. Murder's illegal, you know." Dawson snorted coldly. "Is messing with me illegal, then?" "I don't think so. At worst, it's just a moral issue." I muttered weakly, not confident at all. "Oh yeah." Dawson dangerously leaned in, our noses almost touching. "Well, then play with me more." This guy must have lost his mind from anger. I couldn't stand the pressure and shut my eyes tight, pushing him away with both hands until he was half a step back. His face darkened instantly, but then he quickly put on a flattering smile. "You've been standing so long, you must be tired. Why don't you sit on the couch? I'll make you some tea." I bent down swiftly and slipped into the kitchen. 7. The atmosphere was heavy and awkward. So awkward I wanted to shake my leg. I finished my third cup of tea, but Dawson hadn't even touched his yet. I tried, "It's cold, want me to heat it up again?" Dawson calmly set his cup down. "Are you going back to country A?" I shook my head so hard it might have fallen off. No, no, no. Seriously, I only acted on impulse because I decided not to go back. That's why I messed up so badly. After thinking a bit, I decided to face reality and apologized seriously. "I know you care a lot about that night. It was wrong of me to stain your purity. Sorry. Tell me what I can do to make it up to you. But rest assured, once you're back in country A, you'll never see me again. You won't have to think about this mess." I kept my head down, not daring to meet Dawson's eyes. He didn't respond, lost in thought. After a long pause, he said, "All right, I get it." I breathed out in relief. He stood up, and I quickly stood too. "I'll see you out. Where am I sleeping tonight?" Wait, he wanted to stay at my place. I was dumbstruck, and Dawson raised an eyebrow. "What? Didn't you say anything to make it up? You ruined my purity, can't I stay the night?" My soul felt struck by lightning, crispy on the outside, tender inside. It took me a while to recover. Through gritted teeth, I said, "Okay, sure. I have 3 rooms. Pick any you want." 8. It was surreal. Dawson was sleeping in my house, just next door. I looked at the WeChat contact I'd reluctantly added back that night under his intense gaze, then angrily threw my pillow over my face. I had been ready to cut everything off, but now everything was the exact opposite. What did Dawson want? What did he mean to me? There was no way he wanted me to take responsibility, right? I turned off my phone but tossed and turned, unable to sleep, my mind a mess. After the 80th restless turn, I sat up in despair and sighed heavily. Was Dawson asleep? After hesitating, I got out of bed, shuffled quietly in my slippers, and tiptoed to Dawson's room like a thief. The door was cracked open, not fully closed. The lights inside were off, no light at all. I carefully pushed the door and crept to the bedside. Dawson was sound asleep. Bathed in moonlight, I studied his eyebrows, eyes, and nose inch by inch. His face looked unapproachable when awake, and no one dared mess with him when his expression was hard. But now, sleeping, his usually harsh brow softened in a rare way. My gaze slid down to his tightly pressed lips. That mouth. I had bitten it many times that night. Thin, but perfect for kissing. Driven by some strange impulse, I leaned in slowly. Until my eyelashes nearly brushed his nose, I suddenly snapped back to reality. Am I crazy? My whole body tingled from shock, and as I was about to step back, warm hands suddenly gripped my neck with an irresistible force. Dawson opened his eyes. Why'd you stop kissing me? I wasn't, I just wanted to check if you had covered yourself with a blanket. The rest of what I wanted to say got stuck in my throat. Because Dawson suddenly pressed down on the hand clutching my neck and firmly covered my mouth. 9. My heart pounded wildly, pumping blood to every limb. My ears buzzed with the roar. I blinked in a daze, forced to accept Dawson's kiss. My thoughts stopped the moment our lips touched. The kiss deepened, heat rising, skin tingling as it steamed from his warmth. He pulled me close, and tangled together, he flipped me over and pinned me down. The instant his hand touched my side, a blurry flash of awareness hit me. What are we doing? I pushed with all my strength, shoving him off. Before he could say a word, I scrambled out of the room in embarrassment. Hugging my knees, burying myself under the blanket, my heart still thundered in my chest. Dawson, he kissed me first. Fully conscious, no tricks, no pressure, he kissed me. What did that mean? Could it be, he likes me too? My emotions surged. But just as quickly as they rose, a flood of doubts crashed down. If Dawson really liked me, what was I supposed to do? Should I be with him? Putting aside our social status differences, I was just a beta, I couldn't calm his pheromones, and the chance of me getting pregnant was very low. In a family like his, the heir surely couldn't remain childless. Even if he fought for me, what if someday he met an Omega whose pheromones matched him perfectly? Just thinking about it made my heart cramp. My thoughts raced wildly with no way out. I stared at the dark ceiling, finger tracing my lips. After a long pause, I pulled the blanket over my head. 10. The next morning, I dragged myself out of bed, my eyes dark and heavy. I had stayed up way too late last night and felt completely drained this morning. Before opening my door, I hesitated. What would I say if I saw Dawson? Should I pretend nothing happened and just say hi? Or ask him about that kiss? How could I even bring it up without it being super awkward? I took several deep breaths and psyching myself up for a long time before finally stepping out. But it turned out all that hesitation was pointless. The place was empty except for me. Dawson had already left early, and on my phone was a message he sent an hour ago. I have some matters to deal with, I'll be busy the next couple of days. There's breakfast I ordered in the fridge. Heat it up before eating, don't eat it cold. I opened the fridge to find neatly arranged bread, congee, and crystal steamed dumplings, no clue when he had ordered all that. I pursed my lips and popped the thick, fragrant seafood congee into the microwave. Over the past 2 days, Dawson seemed genuinely busy, barely showing up in person. But on WeChat, he still sent good morning and good night messages and reminded me to eat on time. I wanted to bring up the kiss, but messaging about it felt too formal. Then if I waited too long, it would seem forced. 11. 12 o'clock, right? I'm coming right away. Yeah, got it. I'm wearing light blue. Okay, see you then. I hung up and looked at myself in the mirror. Average height, about 180 centimeters, hair lightly styled, wearing a light-colored suit I'd never have chosen before, it made me look a lot more mature. God knows what was going through Joseph's head, insisting all the wedding guests wear coordinated colors. I didn't get it, but I respected it. I arrived at the wedding venue just before noon. They were truly wealthy and powerful. Besides family and friends, many influential business figures often seen in financial papers were there. The wedding was a grand affair. I picked a quiet seat with a good view and sat alone. The wedding began. Watching Bennett in his white suit, graceful and poised as he walked to the stage, my heart felt a complex mix of emotions, like a proud father watching his son get married. Those two were so compatible, perfectly matched, a match made in heaven. My best friend deserved all the happiness in the world. When Joseph took the mic, eyes misty, reciting his vows, someone suddenly appeared beside me. Dawson handed me a tissue. You're always so emotional. They'd worked together before, so Dawson showing up at the wedding didn't surprise me. I took the tissue and sniffled a bit. Dawson's gaze softened. Are you hoping for a wedding like this someday? I shook my head slightly. I'm just really happy Bennett found someone to spend his life with. I'm happy for him. Then I thought, normally, Dawson should be like Joseph too, found a true Omega who's a perfect match, living happily ever after. Joseph finished his vows, and applause erupted around us. I turned to Dawson. When are you going back to country, eh? Not going back. But your family business is all there. You're just not going back. That didn't seem likely. Dawson's eyes never left me, focused and serious. In that moment, everyone else faded away like a tide, and only he remained in my vision. My heart beat faster for no reason. Because my love is here. I'll overcome all obstacles and be with him without hesitation. The bride and groom kissed on stage amid cheers. But the noise felt automatically muted, and all I could hear was Dawson's words echoing in my mind. Did he mean me when he said, my love? 12. I wanted to ask Dawson what he meant, but a powerful-looking man came over and started talking business. I wisely stepped aside, not wanting to interrupt. But my heart kept racing. Oh, isn't that Adrian? I turned and saw Lillian, dressed in a pale gown, holding a glass of red wine, smiling playfully at me. Lillian was Bennett's mom. Her biggest hobbies, besides admiring handsome young men, were fangirling over romantic couples in all sorts of women's literature. Oh, and fortune-telling. Lillian's fortune-telling skills were extraordinary. She accurately predicted everything from the number of suitors to gender preferences. She'd foreseen many details about Bennett's life with remarkable precision. Nothing escaped her. She nudged my arm and teased. "Why the long face? Shouldn't you be out there cuddling and showing off with your husband?" I widened my eyes. "I don't have a husband." You and Dawson aren't together yet?" I shook my head like a drum. I wasn't surprised she knew Dawson's name so precisely anymore. She pinched her chin, muttering to herself. "Did I mess up the timeline? It's been a while." "Me?" She leaned closer and whispered. "If you're not together yet, then you're probably conflicted and struggling inside, huh? Like, worried because he's alpha, you're beta, and your pheromones don't match Dawson's, worried about the big gap between your statuses, worried his family won't approve. Even if they do, you're scared he might meet a higher match Omega later and regret choosing you." I twitched a little at that. "You can predict all that." Pfft, Lillian waved her hand and pulled us both close. "Sure, it's an ABO world, and AO matches are the usual story. But nothing is absolute. Don't think just because you're beta, you're incompatible with Dawson. I guarantee you two are perfect for each other. You both have huge secret crushes, like arrows pointing straight at each other. Let me tell you, Dawson looks all serious, but he's crafty. Before you left, didn't he sneak into your room? That was on purpose. He wanted to be with you, and when you threw yourself at him, he was probably secretly thrilled. As for family and status stuff, leave that all to him. When he says yes, no one dares say no. If you say yes to him, every Omega in the world is just a statue to him, no appeal whatsoever. Even your fingernails are more attractive. Just keep your heart tucked safely inside and love openly. There's nothing wrong with that. Love when it's time. I'm telling you, you and Bennett, both destined for happiness." She emphasized the word happiness with a confident raise of her eyebrows. But, could it really be like that? Could stolen moments of passion really see the light of day? After a moment, Lillian leaned in conspiratorially and whispered. "In a few days, I'll send you a few things Dawson will absolutely love." 13. For Bennett's health, the wedding ceremony was not complicated. In fact, it was quite simple. So it ended quickly. I found Bennett, gave my sincerest congratulations, then prepared to go home and rest. But less than half an hour after I sat down at home, the doorbell rang loudly and rudely. I opened the door and saw Dawson standing tall right outside. I froze. I had so many questions for him, but now that we were face to face, all my words stuck in my throat. Dawson smiled slightly. "Not going to invite me in to sit?" I sulked but quickly stepped aside. Dawson sat on the sofa. I grabbed a pillow to hug and sat opposite him. As I struggled to find the right words, Dawson cut straight to the point. "Adrian, do you like me?" I suddenly looked up, my voice lost somewhere. "Huh? No, well, Damn, I wasn't ready to confess yet." "Not true." He moved a step closer, eyes sharp like an eagle's, piercing straight into my heart. "If you didn't like me, why did you sleep with me? Why did you stand by my bed at midnight trying to kiss me? Don't think I'll believe your excuse about helping me pull up the blanket." "All right." I exhaled slowly, calming my racing heart, and looked him straight in the eye. "What about you? You said your love is here, and you want to overcome all obstacles to be with him. Is that person me?" Without hesitation, Dawson said. "Yes." His firm, decisive words stirred an endless wave crashing deep inside me. My mind went blank. He moved closer again, took my hand gently, and his eyes softened. "Honestly, the night before you came back to the country, I wasn't in a sensitive phase. I was fully aware, I just wanted to be with you and see how you cared for me. Then your initiative drove me crazy and out of control. We hugged, kissed, and shared intimate moments. The one I dreamed about day and night, the one I wanted to possess, finally belonged to me. At that moment, I truly felt I could die happy. But when I woke up and found myself alone, couldn't reach you by phone, and was blocked on WeChat, do you know what I thought? Dawson squeezed my hand. I swallowed hard. You wanted to ditch me? He suddenly laughed. How could I do that? At the time, I thought I shouldn't have listened to your pleas and let you go. I shouldn't have felt sorry when I saw your tears. I should have held you tightly in my arms, let you cry until you had no strength left, fully and completely mine, with no thought of escape. His words painted vivid images that flooded my mind, flushing my cheeks red. You think I came back to the country to hold you accountable, but actually, I came looking for my love I hadn't confessed to yet. If you're not going back to country A, then we won't go. I've handed over the family business to others these past few days. I'll stay here and start a new venture, stay with you. I told you, I'll be with you no matter what. Dawson spoke each word seriously. I parted my lips but was left speechless by his heartfelt confession. But I'm a beta. So what? I don't discriminate by gender. He reached out, stroked my cheek, stopping at the corner of my mouth. Adrian, what about you? Will you steadfastly choose me? Dawson's eyes shone brighter than the stars. His chest rose and fell with strong emotion barely contained. I didn't answer, and he didn't push. He simply waited patiently, eyes locked on mine. Suddenly, I felt like rejecting him would be a betrayal to the whole world. After a long moment, I closed my eyes and leaned forward to press a kiss to the corner of his mouth, then against his lips. Our eyes burned as unspoken feelings tangled between us. Perhaps overwhelmed by heat and emotion, I suddenly sat on his lap, wrapped my arms around his shoulders, and kissed him deeply. 14. Dawson fully exerted his alpha strength and held me tightly again when we went back to the bedroom. By the time we settled down, evening had arrived. Dawson held me close, pulling the blanket up to his chest. I lazily leaned into him, fingers tracing absent-minded circles on his collarbone. After a moment, I asked the question I'd been wondering about most. Dawson, why do you like me? He grabbed my hand and held it in his palm, letting out a short laugh. Why wouldn't I like you? Do you remember the first time we met? He ran his hand over the back of my head, his eyes distant and calm. You saved a dog that suddenly ran in front of my car. I got out to check, and you were carrying a sketchpad, wearing a white t-shirt and light jeans, apologizing profusely. The sunlight hit your face, and I could even see the tiny pores on your skin. You were saying sorry even though I almost hit you. At that moment, I thought, how can someone be this adorably silly? He paused, then continued. Later, I had someone look up your information. You thought our later meetings were coincidences, but actually, I planned all of them. You're kind and brave. Every trait, every cell of yours, constantly draws me in. Loving you was only natural. I was stunned, mouth agape. Was this love at first sight? But I'm a beta. I can't give you pheromones to soothe you. You know the physiological pull of highly matching pheromones is hard to resist. What if you meet a perfect omega later? Dawson nipped me gently, cutting me off. No matter the pheromones, you're the one whose soul matches mine 100%. If you're really worried, I'll go to the hospital and have my glands removed. I twisted his arm hard. Stop talking nonsense. Dawson kissed my eyelids, tracing down to my mouth corner. So you don't need any other worries. Even if you do, I'll clear them away before they become concerns. He pressed my hand to his chest, almost reverently. As long as you love me for one more day, this heart beats only for you. I felt his heartbeat thudding clearly under my hand. My chest swelled with overwhelming passion, almost bursting. Maybe I should be braver. If we love each other, why can't it be complete? To hell with social status, ABO compatibility, I'm sure he's mine. I looked into his bright eyes, leaned up, and pressed my lips to his. Mitchum, I love you too. 15. Because I was too lazy to move, Dawson just forcefully moved into my modest 120 square meter apartment, which, to him, probably felt like a shabby, almost beggarly place. He started setting up his new business line here, with meetings and negotiations taking up nearly all his daytime hours. I was quite satisfied with that. I had deeply experienced the boundless energy of an alpha. If he didn't burn it off during the day, I'd be the one worn out at night. Once or twice was manageable, even enjoyable. But every day like this? It was killing me. While Dawson was at work during the day, I stayed home drawing my serialized comic. When bored, I would visit my dear friend Bennett. But today, we had a visitor at home. I stared dumbfounded at the row of suits and uniforms neatly arranged on the sofa, along with various delicate silver chains glinting subtly. Lillian, what's all this? I picked up one chain and examined it for a long time, still not sure what it was. Lillian pulled out the last silver chain from her luggage bag, which seemed big enough to hold an elephant. I'm bringing you your battle gear. These are carefully selected. This one's a thigh ring to wear on your thigh, this one's for your ankle, and these two are for your neck. My eyelids twitched wildly as I dropped the grenade in my hand and backed away like avoiding a poisonous snake, pressing myself against the bookshelf. Why do I have to wear all this? Ha! You don't even know yet. Lillian flipped her freshly curled hair. Joseph and Bennett seem exciting, but they're pure love stories. You and Dawson are a whole different level. She raised her eyebrows and gave a smile that's hard to describe with words. You two are the real thrill. I stared at her, every feature on my face screaming confusion, including each strand of hair. Oh, trust me. Lillian never lies. Dawson's birthday is coming up in a few days, right? She grabbed a silky shirt and gestured. Wear this V-neck, and hang a collar chain on your neck. Dawson will be completely lost. Whether he's lost or not, I have no idea, but I was the one about to lose it. 16. Remember to wear it, no excuses, wear it. I saw Lillian off to her car, nodding repeatedly. Wear it, I definitely will. Only after I promised repeatedly did she finally let her driver pull away, satisfied. Once home, I stuffed the pile of stuff from the sofa into a box, sealed it tightly, and shoved it to the very bottom of my wardrobe, weighing it down with several storage boxes. No way was I going to wear that stuff. Not a chance. But Lillian was right about one thing. Dawson's birthday was indeed in a couple of days. The first birthday together always called for something special, a bit more ceremonial. Gifts were a must. The problem was, someone like him had everything in life and hardly anything could catch his attention. Choosing a gift was like solving a major scientific research problem. And this problem bothered me right up until the day before his birthday without a solution in sight. I slumped on the sofa, sighing for the 80th time that day. Suddenly, a bright idea hit me. An alpha surely knows what another alpha wants most. So I asked Joseph. Ha, what's hard about that? Of course, you give yourself to him as a gift. My dreams are always about my baby wearing the clothes I picked out, tangled up with me to the ends of the earth. Too bad it's only a dream. And it's not even convenient now. How did I get it so right the first time? I hung up expressionless. What a waste of time. Frustrated, I reopened the search app and typed in countless queries. 2 hours later, with a blank face, I opened the wardrobe and looked at the box hidden at the bottom, barely noticeable. 17. Dinner, done. Fireworks, done. Cake, done. I glanced at myself in the mirror, then at the clock on the wall. 7 o'clock. Dawson should be back soon. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, his distinctive footsteps echoed by the door. The moment the door opened, I triggered the fireworks. Bang! Happy birthday! He paused briefly, eyes scanning me, then fixed on me without letting go. I calmly took his hand and led him to the table. Come, this is a cake I made myself, one of a kind in the whole world. In the center were 2 little cartoon figures leaning on each other, and our names were written in chocolate below. I stuck the candles one by one into the cake and lit them all. When I turned off the lights, the flickering candlelight highlighted his face, making it look even more vivid. "What are you waiting for? Make a wish," I urged him. Dawson pulled his gaze back, smiled slightly, and closed his eyes. 10 seconds later, he opened them and blew out the candles. I made my wish. Just as I was about to turn on the light, his hand suddenly grabbed mine. A strong force pinned me to the edge of the table, unable to move. Dawson slowly leaned closer, fingers tracing along the curve of my collarbone necklace, voice dropping. "What birthday gift did you prepare for me?" The contact of skin sparked heat. Blushing, I nervously tugged at the V-neck collar, barely lifting it. Do you like it?" Dawson didn't answer, but the moonlight shining through the window mixed in his eyes, making them sparkle brightly. He gently held my throat and buried his head in my neck. "Want to know what I just wished for?" His nibbling ear tickled, and I bit my lower lip. "Wishes don't work if you say them out loud." He chuckled softly in my ear. "That's true, but feeling it is just as good." 18. An hour later, I changed into my usual loungewear, sore all over as I threw the shredded shirt and broken collar necklace into the trash. I cleaned up the crime scene, opened the windows to air out the living room. My waist and legs still tingled in a way I couldn't describe. This sofa. Well, I'd wash the covers tomorrow. I exhaled deeply. How to put it? Dawson definitely liked the gift. But he liked it a little too much. I had planned to visit Bennett tomorrow, but with how I was feeling now, I probably wouldn't make it out the door. Better keep that box of gear locked away at the bottom. Dawson came out of the kitchen with plates of reheated dishes and 2 bowls of soup. The aroma floated with the steam, and my stomach immediately growled. After all this chaos, someone had been eating well. I was starving. Dawson seemed unusually clingy, feeding me spoonful by spoonful like I was a helpless invalid. Even more clingy, when I took a few sips, he leaned over to kiss me, as if he were the Omega overwhelmed by the Alpha's marking. What should have taken minutes ended up taking 10. I pushed his head away, annoyed. "Eat properly, or the food will get cold again." Dawson smiled faintly, placing 2 pieces of salt and pepper prawns in my bowl. He put down his chopsticks. "Actually, I made another wish just now." His chewing stopped. I lifted my eyelids. Dawson smiled softly, leaned close to my ear, and whispered something. After struggling internally for a while, I bit my lip and blurted out 2 words. "Husband." Sigh, it was still so embarrassing. His grip on my hand tightened, then his mouth captured mine again. "No, can we just eat now?"